Good evening. It is 6 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, and I'd like to call to order the Town of Sutton Select Board meeting. And if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need to begin by reading the hybrid opening statement. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 order extending the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025, the meeting of the Select Board is in hybrid format and is being recorded. All meeting recordings will be made available after proceedings on the town's website and YouTube channel. Meeting, YouTube, and Zoom links can be found at www.suttonma.org/cable-department. Thank you. We will move now to public forum.
Roll call.
We will move to public forum as soon as we do a roll call vote.
Jonathan Anderson, aye.
No.
In person. Wow. So you got me screwed up
Hey,
here.
we're pretty good at this.
Jeff Bannon in person.
Norman Shopping in person.
David Hall in person. Now we will move to public forum. Public forum is limited to 5 minutes per topic. Discussions or comments about town employees or agency members shall be avoided so as not to violate individuals' rights. Is there anyone here for public forum?
Okay, what's public forum? I've never been here to a meeting before.
So public forum is sort of a place for citizens to come up, and if there's some specific topic they'd like to talk about that's not otherwise on the agenda, they can do that at this point.
I don't know what the agenda is. May I speak on the Shaw Farm?
You may, so just have to come up and sit down and introduce yourself. So, yeah, please. And then you need to speak clearly into the mic and just tell us your name and where you live.
Name is Sheila Moss. I live at 9 Bolster Road.
Thank you.
I heard that the Shaw Barn will be demolished. I have some points of interest about that people might want to think of. We paid over $4 million for that property. And I just wondering why we paid that much where we, the taxpayer of the town, do not have any use of it. And also, the cost to tear it down, if I remember the vote in 19, it was like $28,000 to tear it down, which is probably doubled by now. Why couldn't that be used toward roof repair? The building is structurally sound. I've never been in it, but that's what I've been told. And I also heard that different groups have expressed an interest in utilizing the space. The Boy Scouts, a local farmer, the Historical Society as an agricultural museum. It could be a draw for tourists. We could see who want to see past farming tools. And I also heard someone say it would be a great place to have an agricultural school erected. Just think of what that would mean to the town. I know in some people's minds it's only an old barn, but everything in Sutton that is old and historical is gradually disappearing. If we can keep this one thing and utilize it, why don't we? It could be a draw. It could be the thing there. And if we could get an agricultural school there, where's the closest one? Amherst? Wouldn't it be nice if the young men and young women of this town who want to go to agricultural school could go in their own town? And just think of the draw, if you had something like that, would be. But that is my opinion as a private citizen and a taxpayer in this town.
Sheila, thank you. The frustrating part about public forum, just so you know, is we're kind of limited about how we can respond to that at this point. So
Okay.
It is not on the agenda, so it's not hasn't been sort of laid out for open meeting law public discussion. So,
Okay. Like I said, I've never been here before.
yeah, no, I appreciate that, and we always appreciate folks coming in and making comments, and Jim, I don't know if there's anything limited you can say, or if there's something that we'll just have to sort of take under consideration and take it from there.
Yes, it would be nice if you could take it under consideration.
Yeah.
Just for the town's historical value.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, so.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall.
Thank you, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here for public forum? Same
Good
rules?
evening.
How are
My name
you?
is Carrie Ann Greenwood. I live at 277 Central Turnpike.
Hello?
Hi. I'm here to discuss the rotted and diseased trees along the public roads in town. As some of you may know, this past August, while I was driving down Central Turnpike, a massive dead tree fell on my truck and totaled it. My black lab Pepper was in the back seat, and the tree caused blunt force trauma to her brain and internal bleeding. She died shortly thereafter. Since the accident, I've been pushing for the town to have a better tree maintenance program, what I like to call the Pepper Project, to ensure the safety of our streets. During this process, it was clear to me that there was a lot of confusion as to whose responsibility it was to cut these trees down. Is it DPW, National Grid, conservation, property owners, etc.? I learned there is a public I learned there is a public shade tree law that indicates the town is responsible for cutting trees along a public paved road, and believe it's between 5 and 20 feet on each side of the pavement. Don't quote me on that, I think it's roughly that. I also learned that these trees have been neglected for some time due to budget restraints and limited resources. So if this is true, the DPW is in a tough situation. However, I recently had a conversation with a town official member and was told that there is a comprehensive plan in place, which is great. This is a tree maintenance project that will not increase the resident taxes. This plan was described to me as a free cash flow from operation, providing approximately $150K, as well as an MVP state grant that will award additional funding to support the tree maintenance program. At this point, as well as many others in town, we would just appreciate confirmation of what this comprehensive plan actually is, as well as a rough timeline as to when this project will begin and possibly end. Can we please have this timeline posted on the public town website once it is squared away?
Great. First of all, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I can't express my concern enough for the accident that you were in and the loss of your dog. As a former black lab owner myself and dogs in general, you know, that's a terrible loss. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming in and promoting your concerns. I think there's a little bit we can say. I know we did add, this is a matter of public record, we did add $50,000 to the budget for trees, I think in this past budget cycle.
Yeah, we doubled it last year, but we're going to add another $100,000 this year just to kind of make a dent in them. But I'm recommending a multi-year funding through free cash to deal with the trees. The MVP project, Municipal Vulnerability Program, we went through the whole charrette some years ago prior to COVID, and the trees were the number one issue that came up. We inquired with the state regarding that, and that's the one thing that they won't fund, because they believe that trees are a beneficial thing, and they are to some extent, but we've got a lot of old, dead, rotted trees along the side of the road, as Kelly mentioned. So with that information, we're going to continue to move forward. Matt Stencil is the tree warden, and he, you know, has a list, but he is always looking for more resources, and so he's ready to go as soon as. But that will be probably May. But we do have some funds left over from the appropriation, so we will start dealing with the trees, obviously throughout the winter as they show themselves, but in the spring we will start. But we'll post that all on the web and so forth.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate
I
it.
guess the one thing I would say too is that, you know, that's sort of a ongoing, sort of never-ending project, right? That you know, we have always had money in the budget for trees. We've recognized that there's a greater need for that. We continue to do that, and it's just, it's just a comprehensive, long-term, got to keep after it sort of project. So, there's no easy fix other than just work on keeping after the trees.
Yeah.
So,
We appreciate the support and the reminder, because we realize it's important.
yeah, we had a conversation here, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or so on that very topic, even before the tree in Oxford fell on a car
Yeah.
in that last snowstorm, so.
Yeah, and I'll just say that is Oxford, but,
Yeah.
the trees are very similar 10 feet down the road on
They-
the
they
Sutton
certainly are.
line.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, certainly
I
are.
mean,
There's that.
So that's, I think if there's a message I want to leave you with, it's that we get it. We have been having these conversations ourselves and have heard it in the past, so it's something that, we're all concerned about.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else here for public forum? Seeing nobody, and I don't see anybody on Zoom, so we're good to go. All right, next we'll move on to our meeting minutes from December 3rd.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept as presented the December 3rd, 2024 Select Board meeting minutes.
Second.
That's a motion and a second. I'll take a vote.
Jonathan Anderson, aye.
Jeff Bannon, aye.
Norman Shopping, aye.
David Hall, aye. That passes 4-0. All right, next up, we got some soccer players in the house, I think. So I believe we are starting with the girls' soccer team. Is that correct?
Sure.
Do we have a coach here? No coach. Do we have somebody that would like to come up and sort of represent the team? Mike, you wanted to?
I can go with them, but if you want me to. I'll be on footballs. There you go, there you go. Okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So we can share. I thought you were gonna go sit. Me too. Make yourself at home.
Well, can you start by just giving us your names?
My name's Anna Joseph.
And my name's Addie Jerome.
And what year are you?
We're both seniors.
Both seniors. So what is this, like, I don't know, winning a championship every year or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Does it get boring?
No.
Good, good. I'll tell you what, you're up here, just tell us what you'd like to say. How was the year?
I had a lot of fun this year. It's definitely one of my favorite, well, I say this about every year. I'm like, it's my favorite year. But it's just really fun to work as a team. It was almost the same team as last year. So we really built a family, and it's hard work at practice in the classroom, but it really pays off at the end of the year. So yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, it was obviously an amazing year, especially to end off our senior year. We had a really close team this year, and it was just amazing. It was also really special to win with the boys' team, too. It was kind of the perfect ending for us.
Interesting. And your record was, what do I see, 21-2?
Yeah, we lost to Nova. But they won Division III, so
Oh, okay.
we let it slide.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
That's right.
I don't know if I should ask, who else you lose to?
Them
Nibble twice.
Them twice.
Yeah.
Got it, okay. And 90 goals for and 10 against. That's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, we make some
Is your-
some team goals at the beginning of the year, and I think our goal was 75. So we surpassed that, and then we didn't want to let in 15, and if we only let in 10, so.
Is your keeper here?
Yes.
Raise your hand, come on. Nice job. I don't know if my colleagues would like to ask some questions or comments.
Yeah, I'll make a few comments. Thank you for coming in and just, receiving this recognition from the town, because this is, it's such an honor to be sitting up here, 4 years in a row, and seeing you win, and the hard work that it goes into to be successful, the amount of commitment, inside, outside of school, plus your schoolwork. This type of, when you win like this, it teaches you a lot of life lessons, and you'll carry them with you for the rest of your life. Not only just the memories of the experience, but also, the leadership and all the things that it takes. And so it's just wonderful to see, soccer continue to be a really strong sport here in town, and to see how, especially the girls' team is just really every year coming back here, and it's just a real pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck with freshman year next year. So.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you. Thanks for coming in for the annual recognition meeting. It's great to see that you girls, the two of you especially, were sitting in the back row, all these years, and now you're up in the big seat. So congratulations on that. This is a tradition in town. I mean, it's tradition that you guys come in every year, but the whole success of the soccer program, it has been going on since literally before you were born. And I'm going to date myself in two ways. One, just talking about something that happened in the mid-'90s, I guess, and the second way is, I may have told this before, so it's a senior moment for me again. So, and it was when I was, when my kids were small, it was like 1996 or 97, we brought them down to Disney World, and they have the characters down there, and we went out to dinner, and the characters come over to your table. They're not allowed to speak, but they did get across, where did you come from? And we said, Sutton, Massachusetts. And I think it was Pumbaa from The Lion King. And he went like this, and he took out a pen and scribbled down, and he drew a little stick figure of this little guy kicking a soccer ball. Right?
Wow.
Right? All the way down in Florida at Disney World, they know this. And this is the mid-'90s. So, you've carried on this tradition. The coaches really have done a great job over the years. And it's great, and it does a lot of things for you, obviously. It's something that you'll, like Jonathan said, you'll remember the rest of your lives, as will your teammates. But it gives, you guys are role models for the next generation coming up, and that's a big deal. And it's a big deal for those kids individually, but it's a big deal for the town because, from our point of view, it makes people. It makes the kids want to stay in town at school, which kind of helps everybody. So it's a great thing, and just the consistency in the work year in and year out for you guys has been really something to admire. So congratulations. We'll see your teammates hopefully next year, and good luck to you next year.
Thank you.
No, there's no pressure.
Thank you. Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, congratulations, right? Winning is everything, isn't it? Right? But yet even though we've done this four or five times in a row, your class earned it, right? That trophy is earned, right? And what you learn from that is the teamwork and the communication, right? Collaboration, which you may not expect, but as you grow in your careers, because that was inculcated in your team spirit and team effort, is that you're going to carry that through your college lives or later on lives in your jobs. So I've seen that over 30 years. I could really point out in my career of who was a sports player and who was not, just for the fact of really being engaging, being and that's something in observation, in my opinion. But there's one thing I'm going to ask you to do, right? When you go home tonight, I want you to go home, tell your parents or your legal guardian that you love them, and tell them thank you, right? Because they supported you, they picked you up at night, they shuffled you around, right? They're a key component of this because they believed in you, right? And but that believing it was part of it. And I believe in sports in school. I think it's a very critical factor in a curriculum, a school curriculum, because of that, not just by winning, but in team effort, right? It's very key. So. Again, congratulations, and don't forget, what are you going to do when you get home?
Thank our parents.
Say thank you and hug them, thank them, right? They were a key part of this. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. W.
Thank you. Good words.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things. One thing that I think is true over maybe the years you were in school and just before that the number of sports programs that have been available to students in Sutton has grown a lot. So to continue to excel in soccer in particular, Sutton's been a soccer town for so long, despite the fact that competition for your talents is now, much greater than it was, is just great work. So, I mean, this is my bias. Sutton is a soccer town, so it's good to have continued success in soccer.
All of his kids played soccer. Just,
Maybe 3 out of 4.
yeah, 3 out of 4. Sorry. Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about that too much because the boys were winning 4 championships when my
Back
girls
in the
were
day,
going
yeah.
through soccer, going through school.
We're back
so.
on the board, but yes.
But, Norman was talking about some factors, and the hard work piece for me. You mentioned hard work, I think, at the very beginning. It's a lot of work to do that. And in order to maintain academic eligibility, you've got to do hard work in other areas as well as soccer. And I think when I watch my kids these days, they had their mother and they had sports in their lives, which kept them. It taught them the lessons of prioritizing and understanding what your goals are. And, I think what Norman said is true. As you go forward in life, those kind of lessons that you learn to be able to have this success now, it might seem like sports isn't that relevant, but it's the way that you get there, the effort that you have to put in, and the commitment to a team, the commitment to goals that really serve you in the long run. So I think those are just, add-ons to the fun of winning 4 championships in a row. So, how many seniors are on your team?
8.
8. So,
A lot.
yep. So which is why you brought back almost the same team from last year.
Yeah, we lost 2 girls, and
Yeah.
we got 1 freshman. So.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's a big challenge for next year.
Thank
And anybody playing soccer in school next year?
We both are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 out of 8 of the seniors are.
Is that right? And where are you guys going?
I'm going to UMass Lowell.
And I'm going to St. Anselm's.
Great. Excellent. Well, good for you.
Thanks.
So I think we have a.
Mr. Chairman, may I add one more thing?
You absolutely.
I just realized I want to thank you to coach as well, right? Because it's leadership, right? And winning is everything, right? But that comes from leadership.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll get to him.
And
He's
not
coach
there,
of the other side.
Well, I'm the boys coach, but I work with them in the summer. I've known them for years.
As
I know
well,
a lot
as well.
of them. So
All right.
I know the players very well. And these 2 are outstanding as well as the other ones, obviously, in the audience.
All right.
I mean, hard workers, dedicated, leadership, all the things you guys have been saying. Highly impressed. Going to miss them tremendously.
I'm sure. And then as I told them to thank their parents, right, everything, I would suggest for you to, thank your significant other, your wife, right? So thank them.
I do all the time because she doesn't see me that much because I do this.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That'd be it. Sorry.
Thank you.
I want to add that.
So I think we have a certificate to read. I'll ask the clerk to do that.
Sure, we have Town of Sutton, Massachusetts Certificate of Recognition. It is hereby resolved by the Sutton Select Board on behalf of the residents of Sutton that this recognition announce the achievement of the Sutton High School girls varsity soccer team for winning the 4th straight Central Mass Class C championship and the 4th straight Division IV state championship for the 2024 season. And whereas the girls' varsity soccer team's winning season consisted of 21 wins and 2 losses, with a team accomplishment of 90 goals scored overall and 10 goals allowed. And whereas the school sports encourage good sportsmanship as well as commitment, solidarity, and a healthy, beneficial lifestyle. Now be it proclaimed that the Sutton Select Board, on behalf of all residents of Sutton, recognize the players under the guidance of Coach Jensen Shipp and the assistant coaches for winning the 2024 Sutton Girls Varsity Soccer Championship title. In witness thereof, the Sutton Select Board has caused this certificate to be signed this 17th day of December in the year 2024.
So, congratulations. Now, do we want to take pictures? Anybody want to take pictures? Yes. There are people. Sure. So one of the advantages of being chair is you get to take pictures. Can I borrow them?
Just sure.
Up by the,
I do it up
up by the,
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Can you guys sign it?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Actually, No, because Brady.
You guys want to come on up here, we'll take it by the,
It's been a long time.
it's a small soccer team.
We usually play a few minutes.
Yeah, is that what it is?
That group, man,
It's a little extra challenge.
Yeah.
some little mistakes.
If it's better, Melissa, if it's better to step in the middle, we're there, feel free, you know? Okay, that's fine.
They're taking pictures too. Sometimes that's not, you know?
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Good job, ladies.
And while we're here, why don't we invite the boys' team up, you know? Since we have other champions in the house.
Brady, come on, man. Paul, you could come too. There's only 4 of you. Come on. Crazy work. Here, take my chair, one of you guys.
You know what you can do? Pull this chair around here. Pull this chair around here.
You know what, 4 of those will be hard. Take this one.
There you go.
Paul, don't make me look too small.
Gentlemen, we need names. Right in the mics.
Chris Gamble.
Paul Kupka, Reed Cassatley.
Brady Pitts.
And how about, what year are you guys?
I'm a senior.
I'm a junior. Senior.
Junior.
Well, welcome and congratulations. So who wants to tell us a little bit about your season?
All right, I guess I'll.
Do we want the girls to come up and talk again, or?
I think we're okay.
All right.
It started off rough. We had some complications, but I think it kind of brought us together more as a team. And I think we took advantage of it, yeah. We let it bond us instead of break us, and it kind of made us more resilient. Yeah.
I think a large thing that Coach kind of brought upon us was that in order for us to actually win it, we had to sort of bring together this sort of culture, and I think that really, really helped us as a whole.
You guys good? And so you guys were 22-1. So you only played Nipunk once, is that? So,
We lost the one team. We lost the BBT.
Yeah.
PBT, okay.
And the complication they're referring to is we've won 2 games that we ended up having to forfeit due to an administrative issue that happened through the school. So we actually won them, but then due to an MIA rule, we actually had to forfeit them. It was purely administrative. We did nothing wrong. It was just some sort of paperwork that got, it was actually kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you, but, so.
And so the similar kind of results with 60 goals scored and 11 against. I mean, that's 23 games and 11 goals allowed. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How many shutouts were there? Any of you guys keepers?
Well, this kid.
He was so Isaac Bradley was our keeper and an outstanding keeper for the year. And then most people thought we lost our heads because in the state final game when we went to penalty kicks, Paul, who's our German exchange student, we put him in goal. And no one knew we were going to do that except for the team. And so all of a sudden he was a field player, and then we put him in goal, and our starting keeper, who had done outstanding all year, did not take the PKs. But we had planned for that, practiced it, everyone knew it was going to happen, because Isaac was a great keeper throughout the season, but Paul was kind of almost like a PK specialist. So he went in, did his job, and here we are today.
What was the score with the PKs? Anybody remember?
Go ahead, Paul.
3-1 off PKs.
3-1.
Yeah, I saved one, they missed 2, one hit the crossbar, and the other one just, I don't know, like 3 feet next to the goal.
Yeah.
We scored all 3, so.
Wow. That's pretty exciting.
We've been working on them for a while, we just to be ready.
Yeah. Well, once again, we will open it up to the board.
Yeah, congratulations. just build upon what I said, with the girls, and that, I think one thing, the key things I heard in your journey to getting to the championship is that you had some difficulties along the route. Everybody does, but I think particularly this incident you were talking about with the forfeiture, I think there's a lot of things that happen in our lives that can be unfair, and we can choose how we deal with them. We can kind of just be upset and complain, or we can figure out what we're going to do to overcome it. And I think that's obviously what you did. And I think those are valuable lessons that you'll learn throughout your life, because there's going to be many instances in your life where things aren't going to go the way that you would like them to. So, just like my colleagues have said, sports is a really good emulator of what you will encounter in your life. And, as you get into your careers, a lot of what you learned through teamwork and hard work, perseverance, things not going your way will carry with you. And I know it's kind of hard to see that right now, but as you experience that, and you can definitely tell, as Norman said earlier, you can definitely tell the people who played sports when you get into your career, because they're the ones who often have some of the best leadership and know how to play as a team. So I'm really proud of you guys for what you did and how hard you worked and what it took for you to get to this place. And it obviously takes your family and friends and family to make this all happen, your coaches, but most importantly, your dedication. So just thank you, and I'm really grateful that you represent the town the way you do. So thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you. Guys, thank you for coming in and your season. Coach, good to see you, and congratulations. I have this story about Disney World. But
It's in your moment?
but I already used it. So it's, just to build up, what I said before, it's not all about you guys, right? It's about, the kids that you don't realize actually look up to you, believe it or not, And it's a tradition that's been carried on in this town for a long time. And I don't know if you looked up to see at the kids that came before you over the years. Dave, I think it was four straight coach in the past.
Yeah, after Dan graduated, though.
Well, and actually, we reached out to some of those people from the past, and we actually did a video before the state finals, and so we asked them to give a little snippet. And so I reached out to a variety of different players from the past, and we created a video that I shared with the kids before the game, which was really cool. So a number of people from the past responded.
Yeah.
We put together a video to show kind of that history, that deep history of caring the community, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty neat for them.
Yeah, it's just it's a tradition that's just, it predates me, certainly moving to town, which was, 30 plus years ago. So, you guys have, you've done good in terms of the traditions in town. And, like I said, it's not, you'll carry it with you guys forever. No one can ever take that away from you, but it means a lot to the town. It means a lot to the kids that look up to you and that are going to come after you. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you guys, well, two of you anyways, next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, congratulations, right? And it's team effort, right? I think you said the key word is a winning culture. And that winning culture comes from him, right? So I'm sure that he was not always nice, right? They yell at you, right? That's part of leadership, right? So you got to take the bull by the horns, right? He might not be popular, but he developed that winning culture, and that's everything, right? And when you develop that winning culture, what you've learned from this is that when you're on that field, right, you're on Broadway, right? You develop that winning culture, you're a team, right? So you may have disagreements in the classrooms or whatever, but when you're on that field, you're on Broadway, right? And that winning culture developed, right? So again, fantastic. This is a true example, Chairman, that we are Sutton, right? When I first came here, 2011, right, I was telling people, yeah, I'm moving to Sutton. Yeah, because that's a big Sutton town. That's a big soccer town, really. It's like, I came from a hockey town, right? So French-Canadian hockey town. So perhaps, you got bruised knees. We had missing teeth, right? So, but again, congratulations. And I'm going to tell you the same thing as I told the ladies, is that when you get home tonight, right, thank you, parents, tell me you love them, right? They're a part of the thing, as well as the coach. Thank you again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, I think at this point, it's all been said, so I just want to finish up with congratulations. And, I've known you, Coach, for, more years than I care to remember. So congratulations to you, Mike, too. I know this is, you probably don't have any shelves left to put all your trophies on, but that does speak to the culture. And as we've all said, we not only congratulate you for what you've done this year, but for continuing the tradition, and good luck to you guys all in the future, and we'll go from there. So I think we have another recognition to
Yes, we
read.
do, Mr. Chairman. Town of Sutton, Massachusetts, Certificate of Recognition. It is hereby resolved by the Sutton Select Board on behalf of the residents of Sutton that this recognition announce the achievement of the Sutton High School boys varsity soccer team for winning the DVC Conference Championship, the Central Mass Class B Championship, and the Division V State Championship for the 2024 season. And whereas the boys varsity soccer team's winning season consisted of 22 wins and 1 loss with a team accomplishment of 60 goals scored overall and 11 goals allowed. And whereas school sports encourage good sportsmanship as well as commitment, solidarity, and a healthy, beneficial lifestyle. Now be it proclaimed that the Sutton Select Board, on behalf of all residents of Sutton, recognize the players under the guidance of Coach Michael Elster and the assistant coaches for winning the 2024 Sutton Boys Varsity Soccer State Championship title. In witness thereof, the Sutton Select Board has caused this certificate to be signed this 17th day of December in the year 2024.
Great. Same thing, you guys can have. Derek, do you need these back so we can...
Oh, forgot about the picture.
Paul, why are you 6'7"? There's only a few of you, so congratulations. Thank you, sir. Paul?
Probably gonna go to the school, I'm guessing, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you're not going to stay?
Let you guys do your thing.
Hey, Mike, hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
That's the girls.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, administrative paperwork things happen.
And that wasn't me, by the way. We had him do AD. He didn't mean to, but, that was a little snafu.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All righty. Our next item on the agenda is an appointment to the Cultural Council. Jim, I don't know if you want to take this?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are recommending the appointment of Kelly Putnam DeLiso to the Sutton Cultural Council. The Cultural Council met with Kelly DeLiso and unanimously recommended her for appointment. Ms. DeLiso was invited to attend the board meeting if you have any questions. Is Kelly here? She is right here.
Come on up, please. We hate to put you on the spot, but...
I'm used to it.
So I think you've been introduced, but if you just want to tell us a little bit about your background and why you volunteered to join the Cultural Council.
Sure. I've been involved in the arts my whole life. Grew up in the arts, went to Boston Conservatory and trained as a musical theater person. I've performed in commercials, films, on stage mostly. And then as my children grew, I started teaching more. I owned Hamden Performing Arts Center before moving here. We've been in town now going on 33 years. But when I moved here, I immediately started helping over at the elementary school with the 5th grade play. And I've just always been in the arts. That's what I do. So,
Excellent. Thank you. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, the very first time I ever sat in that chair before I was ever on any committees, and I said something to the effect of, I've been here for a lot less than 33 years. At that point. I'm going to steal the line of the chair from then. He goes, well, welcome.
thank you.
After 33 years. Anyway, Jonathan, why don't we move on to you?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for your willingness to join the cultural council, excuse me. And, it, like we always say, it takes volunteers to make things happen in town. And, all the different events that happen, it really makes this town very unique and distinct and really a great place to live. And so having your experience and expertise to add to that, which you've already been involved already in town, so it's not like it's something new, but just thank you for your willingness to put your free time to helping make Sutton better and a great place to live.
It is a great place to live, and I really love the town. And most recently, I was on the committee for the July 4th events the last couple of years, and I'm very committed to the community. And I thought, when I got the call, like they were looking for people, I thought, well, that would be a really good fit for me. So, yeah, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, having, the arts as part of our community is really important, so.
I agree.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your contributions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for volunteering for this. 2 things. One is, I think you put together the 5th grade play when my son was there for I think it was Oklahoma. Did you do Oklahoma?
I did not do Oklahoma. I wrote all the plays when I was directing.
Okay.
I helped, the first couple of years I lived here, I was teaching dance elsewhere, and then I was assisting Mr. Sacco? Was that his? Yes, Mr. Sacco. He was directing back then, yeah.
Okay. I don't remember that name, actually, but, okay.
He was a music teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that kind of caught my eye here was on the application of the form that you filled out, where it says occupation, it says mostly retired.
I wasn't sure how to answer that because I'm not working much anymore because I don't want to. But I do special projects. If someone can entice me, I'll take on a directing or something. I also coordinate events as long as they have something to do with the arts. So I will do that, but not often. So I'm mostly retired.
Oh, that's good. There are a few people in this room right now who may or may not be looking forward to retirement, but you never can really, it's like Hotel California. You just can't leave, right? So that's great. Really, thanks for. I mean, I think it's it's a great fit to have you on the cultural council. So thank you for stepping up and being willing to put in the effort for us.
Thanks.
Thank you. Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kelly, thank you for your time. Thank you for volunteerism. This hits special with me because I think culture is very required today. In all the small and medium towns, it's very critical, and particularly with the younger children, because they're so attuned to different recourses of, let it be their phones, whatever, they're overscheduled. But for me, in my opinion, having a balanced part of the ecosystem of life art is very key. Right? So I think it's really important for children to listen to music, right, and be exposed. So I will have to see, like, more the younger generation. Here in town, if there is a gazebo, a concert at the gazebo in the summertime, to attend that, right? To put a draw to that, the contest or something like that, because they gotta have that balance, right? And I think it's key because
it's good for the emotional intelligence, right, to have that balance, right? Because I played a musical instrument when I was young, and I think that was a very, very important factor in my life. And I was exposed. My parents were. It doesn't cost anything either, too, right, to have some sort of art of fashion. But I noticed that you went to Boston Conservatory. Did you play an instrument? Did you play music?
No, I'm an actor, singer, dancer.
Actors and dancing. Okay, good. Because this is still cultural. So,
Yeah.
in acting, you did some acting.
Yeah, I'm an equity actor.
Oh, great. Okay,
Yes.
good. What type of things you would like to see in Sutton, right? If you part of the board, what would you like to see that's different that would be good for Sutton in a cultural aspect?
As far as the council, what they do?
Yeah. What would you like to see?
Well, one of,
Does like they play music sometimes, or
yeah, I love what they're doing. I went to a number of the concerts this summer. My first idea, I would love to do a drumming circle. Again, drawing in younger crowd.
Yeah.
There's, people out there that will bring the drums in, and just the whole rhythm and the community getting in a big circle and going for it. A couple years ago, I put that witches dance thing together.
Okay.
I was the one who did that. And then I stepped away, and now that it's a club, I guess, or whatever. I don't do that, but...
Anyway, I don't know.
But, I like to think out of the box for the arts. And I would say the last, probably 10, 15 years, I've really specialized into children. I'm most interested in working with children, having them express themselves through the arts. I've taken a lot of interest in integrated arts. So I've kind of incorporated that in when I am working with the kids now.
Yeah, because I see that you did some work with the Green Bean Project as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So so again, I think culture is very important, right? I think growing, we had nothing, we had it all, and part of that all was having that bit of culture, and that helped me out in my career, right, in my life, right, having that piece of music being brought up with it, right, so it was very, very important, and I instilled that with my children too, right, and that was part of my wife and I, so I'm not saying we're any better, but it was just very key. So again, I want to thank you for your volunteerism. I would love to see more children engage in the cultural aspect here in Sutton. No matter if it's the drumming, the little dancing, right? It's just get them away from that phone and being overscheduled to take part of that. So again, thank you. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Jonathan kind of mentioned what is my sort of typical line here, which is you really just can't run the town without volunteers. So we do have, a fair number of people come before us and volunteer and fill out this very form that you filled out. And occasionally we're fortunate enough to find one of these forms where the talents of the person who is volunteering so closely aligns with the task at hand. And when I read your form, it was like, this is one of them. You seem like very much a natural for all the things that the Cultural Council is about. So, I think you exude enthusiasm for the arts and for the opportunities that this will bring. So I look forward to all the things that will come out of your participation here. So Norman was talking about the kids, and I completely agree with that. And they played an instrument when I was a kid and all that. I think programs for seniors might be good as well, because I do think, some people when they retire, maybe their proclivities toward, let's say, acting would come out, and I think it really could work out. So we'll see where it goes.
Maybe some other talent.
Are you on stage?
We'll see where it goes. But that's it. Thank you very much. We you can tell we're also enthusiastic for folks to come and be part of the town and continue to help make Sutton a great place. So we appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
We will see you around.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
will. Thank you.
Kelly.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, if I could, to appoint Kelly Putnam Deliso to the Cultural Council for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Motion and a second. We'll take a vote.
Jonathan Anderson, aye.
Jeff Bannon, aye.
Norman Shopping, aye.
And before I vote, you knew this was a 3-year term, right? Yeah. David Hall, aye. There's no getting out of it. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last item on our regular agenda is a Waters Farm update with Mr. Paul Schaefer. Speaking of community.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If I may, I can't tell you how excited the Cultural Council was as a member of the Cultural Council for recommending Kelly. It was a no-brainer. We're thrilled with her experience and her ideas and her enthusiasm. And I think we're looking forward to it. And there might have been a revolt if the vote had gone a different way. So, putting on my other hat for Waters Farm, for the Waters Farm update. This year, to me, it's a wow. On behalf of the board and our volunteers and everyone that supports it, I want to thank the whole community for their support and their effort for the whole year. Needless to say, Farm Days was a huge success. 2 sunny days in a row. We didn't really know how to handle it, but we did well. On Sunday, we were finally able to answer the question of what's the capacity of the fields. As they say in the fishing industry, we were packed to the gills. The head count, we had heard rumors the week prior that to expect 10,000 people over the 2 days. Thankfully, it was because of capacity, it was only 5,000, but that still that's 1,000 more than we usually typically see on a good weekend. The parking lot was maxed out on Sunday. The car show on Sunday had almost 400 cars, which is 100 more than they usually have.
Wow.
And we found out from the people that run the car show that our car show now has become the go-to event in the region in the fall for car shows. The participants they love the size, they love the atmosphere, they love the people, and they love the food. So that's a big draw. Our animal showcase, I don't know if you could tell, but the animal showcase was bigger than I ever remember, with various different types of animals, and with events, the obstacle event and the parade and things like that. So there was an enthusiasm, and we got to see the 4-H'ers work very well, and I think that's really what it's all about. The children's activity area, big. That's always big. The bottle rockets were very popular. The apple crisp sales were brisk, but this year we did not run out. So it was, and we discovered portion control. That sort of helped. I want to talk a little bit about the uses of the farm throughout the year. I think generally people are aware that the grounds of the farm are open to the public from dawn to dusk every day of the week, unless we have some major big event. And on any given day, if you go up there, it's not uncommon to see walkers, dog walkers, photographers, runners, hikers. So the farm is being used. We've been trying to make a concerted effort this year of informing the community of the resources that are available to them at the farm. And we've increased our social media presence, and I think that has helped us a lot this year. And we have several volunteers that are savvy in social media, which is a big help. During the last year, we hosted over 60 special events throughout the year to try to draw people in. A lot of these you're familiar with. The Easter egg hunt, the back to school movie project, the Breakfast with Santa and the Chain of Lights. That's all through the sponsorships of Senator Fatman and his wife Stephanie. We support the Country Montessori School for their Pumpkin Fest and their field days. We have scouting activities and Eagle projects throughout the year. This year, we hosted the Witches of Sutton picnic. We had 11 tractor pulls this year, and I forgot that fact. During the farm days, we had 45 tractors on Saturday and 48 on Sunday. So the pulling ended between 5 and 6 o'clock, even though everything else shut down at 4 o'clock. But in my time, I don't remember ever seeing that many tractors. So it was good. We also this last year we supported through July through Miss Kathy Hare. We had a summer art workshop for kids for the whole month of July, and we provided foraging classes. We did a read around town and helped with the public library. We've had a chamber recital, barn dances, graduation ceremonies. This year we were asked to provide space for a chainsaw certification class for the Blackstone Corridor. In order to be able to work, we're part of the VIP, the Volunteer in Parks program, and as a part of that program, we get certified hours for volunteers. But you have to, so if any volunteer is working with a chainsaw, they have to be chainsaw certified. So we actually had 4 volunteers from the farm participate in that class, and they're certified, so we can maintain that coverage. This year we had our second annual Old Goat Cross Country Classic race. We had our first youth lacrosse camp. And then we have very numerous volunteer work sessions throughout the year. And speaking of volunteers, we have a certification program with the Volunteers in Parks program for the National Park Service. So we had over 330 certified volunteers for that program last year, with an in-kind value of over $460,000. So. When we get to that grants where they're looking for in-kind support, that counts. So we'll be able to apply that. And then a fact for the region that we weren't aware of, but I was noticing it, and I think the rest of the board was noticing, the youth volunteerism was up 119% in the Blackstone Valley corridor. And we could certainly see it with the number of youth volunteers that we saw at the farm and at several of our activities, especially the apple peeling day. We had over 60 volunteers that day peeling apples, and I want to say at least half of them were kids, and it's great to see. You may not be aware, but we have we constructed a rental property in October. It's up about 80 feet on top of a pine tree platform for eagles. And just a couple of weeks ago, we have a camera up there that's activated by motion, but it's not online yet. But we were hoping and wishing and fingers crossed, because the platform was put up at the end of October, and we have film of two eagles. We assume that it's male and female. Scoping things out, moving some of the branches that were put up there around. We understand that they may go away for the winter. We're hoping that they'll be back in the spring, and by then we hope to also be able to get a live feed, so that if it's triggered, then on our Facebook page and on our website, we'll be able to show the eagles, and that was quite exciting. So we hope to have renters on the property. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Paul. Actually, before I turn it over to the board, can you tell us just a little bit about the flagpole dedication at Waters Farm?
Oh, wow. I can't believe I forgot that. It had been a request of a couple of the board members. I want to say this was 3 years in the works. And the Auburn Legion Post donated the flagpole, and everything I don't think we paid or anything. Everything was donated for that flagpole. The garden in the bottom, the masonry work, the digging up. We thankfully the location that we picked, there was a boulder there about, I want to say, 5 feet in diameter that broke up as Wayne Whittier was digging it, and everything happened because that was the best place to locate the pole because it can be seen almost everywhere from on the property, and then to be able to dedicate it then at the opening of the farm days was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's a good ceremony.
It was a good ceremony. We had all the scouts and both Legion posts present with their color guards, and it was a great ceremony.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Appreciate that. So, Jonathan, start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Paul, for giving us that update.
You're welcome.
Just a couple questions. So, I also noticed there's a stage on site that's been built.
It's not. It will be complete. We've been waiting on parts. We have 2 doors that are in the back. That they're very, very large, almost like the sliding doors on the front of the visitor center. That we can open, and then it becomes a backdrop for the stage. But that requires special hinges, and it took months and months and months to get the hinges. They finally have arrived. We're staining the doors now, but I think we'll wait until after the winter to put the doors on. But we're excited about having that stage back, and it's impressive, and you can see it. You can see it from the field. So
it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and that was all grant funded from the state.
What's the intended use of that stage, other than what's obvious? But what are some things you see coming down the road that we'll be using it?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a bluegrass concert or a Celtic concert or dramas. The Green Bean Project could do a play on the stage because it's a 32 by 24, if I think I'm remembering right in terms of the footprints. So it's double the size of the old wooden stage that we had before that broke down. So and I could see it where it would be a concert venue. People could just come in and put a blanket on the ground, and it's a natural amphitheater, so it'll work. I think the issue will always be timing and parking. We don't want to impinge too much on the cutting of the field, so because that is a viable hay crop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. It's just great to hear all the different things that are going on there year round, and really living into the spirit of why the farm exists. Was
Yes.
for the town. So it's really amazing. Another question I have is around the barn that is being built. You have any progress on that, or where's the process?
The visitor center, we will be starting. We started a little bit last year, but we need some major funding. We're estimating between about $500,000 to finish the interior of the center, and so we'll be doing a major capital campaign effort in this early spring.
All right, great. So people have to look forward to that.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Your update was great. It was just really wonderful to attend Waters Farm and just have incredible weather and see how many people. And the car show was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just really exciting because it brings a amount of enthusiasm for people to attend there, and then with all the other things going on, it's just, again, another one of the components of what makes this town so wonderful to live in. Is just Waters Farm is a major component of that, and different things that are hosted there. So I appreciate the work that you put in and all the volunteers that go, and all the time that goes into running that organization. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think that the community really needs to understand, first off, that it's theirs. And then the Waters Farm Preservation Charitable Foundation group we're just there. It's 100% volunteer supported, and it's the volunteers that are making that all happen. And we're trying to be good managers of the asset that the town has entrusted us with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It's really having an impact on the town, a very positive one. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you. Paul, thank you for coming in and updating us, but also for really everything you did. And I think most people would be surprised at the amount of activity that goes on there.
Yeah.
more than 60 special events. The eagle habitat, that's just the coolest thing. You said there was a camera now, but not a motion camera, or
It's a motion camera, so it goes on if there's motion there, but it's not. We don't have it's not Wi-Fi connected, or
it's not okay.
We don't have that ability. That's a dead area down in that area.
Yep.
So we'll work on it now that we have potential renters. We're going to see what we can do to get some signal down
Let me
there.
know how collecting the rent goes. Could you tell me a little bit more about the National Park Service program they were talking about?
The farm got involved with that just as I came on board. But the Blackstone Corridor is a national park.
Sure. Yep.
So there's the Blackstone Heritage Corridor, and I don't think I have their title correct, but they're an all volunteer type organization, just like Waters Farm is, but it's for the whole area. And through their program, and then with us being allowed to join their program, our volunteers are covered under the National Park Service for accidents, injuries, and things like that.
Okay.
And that's it provides insurance for them, and that's.
Oh, okay, great.
It's a
Yeah, I
good
mean,
thing.
it's just nice to hear that the enthusiasm of the volunteers. It doesn't sound like. I mean, you always need more volunteers, but
Oh yeah, we could use more.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like. It seems like you've got a very enthusiastic group of volunteers right now.
We do.
Which is great. So,
and we're looking for more.
Always,
as we all
always.
are.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing what's happening down there. I think you said you want to get the word out to the town. I just don't think that a lot of people know.
I know
everything that goes on down there and what's available. But it is, it's part of the fabric of the town, and it's a big part of the fabric of the town. So,
yeah.
So thanks for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul, big thank you. I was there for both days, right? First day I was there for the flagpole dedication, representing the select board, so thank you for that. And my first day as well, I was, full disclosure, is like I was really reminding people of the town meeting. My observation was there were more out-of-towners than folks from Sutton. So the word's getting out there,
Yeah.
right? So and saying, hey, just a reminder, town meeting, October 21st. Thank you for showing up. Oh, we're from Uxbridge. We're from and I was telling my peers wow, this is really is getting attention around.
Yeah.
The second day was my full day there to really enjoy it. I really admire the amount of cars that were there for 100. I mean, I wish I got there earlier to look at every single car. My wife had to pull me away because we had to go somewhere. But it was very well organized. And it comes from leadership, right? The attitude comes from the top on down. A couple of questions is that you're looking to, renting. Well, listen, first of all, I was going to write it down, but I took a mental note. There's about 35 to 40 activities that go during the year. Yeah, there's a lot of activities.
We try to, yeah.
No, this is good. So with that said, are those revenue generating, some of those revenue generating activity for?
Most of them are not.
Okay, all right.
We feel that we are there to provide a service to the community, and most of the organizations that use us are not-for-profits or service organizations like ourselves. And so what we do is we basically trade time for labor. You want to use the farm, help us out when we need to clean up, do weed cutting, stuff like that. So we get a lot of support that way.
Okay. So, Bill, how much revenue do you, from the activity you do get revenue, how much revenue is it per year about?
I can't even give you a number.
What's the biggest revenue generated from that?
Oh, the farm days is actually the biggest revenue generator, and we're still tallying up the numbers on that. We still have funds coming in and going out.
for the stage, right? Is that going to be a revenue generator as well, too, for people who want to do concerts, like you mentioned, bluegrass?
The board hasn't talked about that yet. We'll be doing that in January and February, but I think it could be. I've had several inquiries from bands that would like to come, but they would want to be paid for it. But so I'm trying to figure out how to handle crowd control and parking would be an issue.
Yeah, I noticed, but I got to tell you, my wife and I noticed how it was an A-plus coordinated event. You have people flagging in cars. It was done in orderly fashion, direction, from my observation, right? I mean, I don't know if your body language, but it's just...
It all depends.
So, well, it's like, but I saw some of the volunteers that I knew. They were, making it sure there's a traffic flow for safety. The concessions, it was like very well organized, right? And God, I guess, he answered your call, so he had both days, right? So, but I really want to. I was really impressed. Hence my letter, right? I really want to thank you on behalf of the town of Sutton residents, and make this reoccurring, successful every year. So again, it comes from leadership. So I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, my colleagues covered a lot, but just a couple of things. A few years ago, you changed the weekend that we hold the event on, the Waters Farm Days event on.
Yes.
And I don't know, it seems to me like that was a significant shift. So I work down there every year, and the weather has been better. I don't know if that's just lucky or if it's just really moving it up a week.
When I first got introduced to the farm, it seemed to me like it was the first. If it wasn't the first weekend in October, it was the second. And then they were snake bit. It was rain. It was at least rain on one of the days.
Usually two.
So I think 2 years ago they decided to move it just before I assumed my position. They decided to move it to the third weekend in October.
Yeah. Well.
And knock on wood, been okay.
It's been something.
Yeah.
My observation over the last number of years is the quality of the programming during Waters Farm Days has really improved a lot. I think, and whether weather has anything to do with this, I don't know, but the number of vendors that are there, the number of events that are there, the number of things for people to come and participate in while they're there has just, you guys have done a great job. It's just better than it used to be.
We've worked hard at that.
Yeah.
But the weather has a lot to do with it.
Sure. I mean, on a given weekend, of course, that's true. But I think it just is the kind of event that attracts people and continues to attract more people because they show up. And there's just a lot of great things, a lot of great family things to do. People just enjoy coming to Waters Farm. So, I work in Sutton, and most of the people that I work with are not from Sutton, but they all know about Waters Farm Days, and this is an event, as you noted, that's attracted people from far and wide. So, it's
especially with the cars.
Success.
The cars came from all over the region.
Yeah,
it wasn't just the Worcester area.
I always have a warped view of Waters Farm Days because I just work in that little corner and never get out and see all the stuff that's going on. So, I only know we're doing well because the line's long. So. But we had a lot of lines this year, so it was kind of good. On our agenda here, we have just Waters Farm update, right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking Waters Farm Days. But I appreciate that you took it beyond what happened on that weekend and tell us about all of the events that take place year-round. And it occurs to me as we're talking that, perhaps there are members of the community that don't realize, what the ownership structure of Waters Farm is. So can you just tell us a little bit about that and why you see yourself as your mission is to give back to the community?
Well, it's it all started with Bud Gurney and that generation and that crew, and it's. So the property is owned by the community, but it has to be maintained, and the way to fund that was to get active volunteers, and they organized that 70-some years ago, and it's been going forward ever since. We're trying to hold and maintain that enthusiasm and that knowledge, and that love of caring for our heritage and our history, and trying to bring it alive. And I think once we get that visitor center built, you'll see a lot more because we'll have a chance for interior displays and things like that, which I think will be very helpful.
And the house and the maintenance of the house and the blacksmith shop and all that, those kind of things
together, yeah.
To remind us all of the history that's there. But you said it earlier, and I just want to make sure the point was clear. This is Town of Sutton property, really. It's managed in a certain way, but this belongs to the community.
Yes.
So, which is why it's open to the public.
Yes.
Every day. So, but it's been said here, the stewardship that's there today is amazing, and I think what you see on Waters Farm Day in particular is a lot of community support and enthusiasm for what's there, and we've all said it, but we want to express our appreciation for the work that gets done there. So
I'll let the board know.
Yeah, please do. So thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you coming in too.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Paul.
Welcome.
Good job.
And no votes for that one, so we will move on to our town manager's update. Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first update is the Blackstone Valley Opioid Task Force. Chief Belcito and Chief Perry met with the Uxbridge Police Chief Mark Montminy, and they are recommending the town join the Blackstone Valley Opioid Task Force. The towns of Uxbridge, Douglas, Blackstone, and Northbridge have already committed to joining the task force. The idea is to pool our resources, identify regional issues, and apply for matching grants at the state level. So it'll really multiply the money we have and come up with a group-oriented approach to spend these resources. Our annual commitment to this fund would be just under $19,000. We currently have over $90,000 in the opioid account. Town meeting authorized the police chief and fire chief to expend these funds. I have signed a letter of commitment to participate in the Blackstone Valley Opioid Task Force as a regional effort to combat the opioid crisis. Housing production plan update at the planning board meeting on December 2nd. The planning board discussed the formulation of a working group to update the housing production plan. They are asking for a member of the planning board, select board, and finance committees to sit on this committee. They've also asked residents who are interested in participating in this effort to fill out a statement of interest regarding their interest on this committee. The board will review all statements of interest and likely make appointments in January. And finally, holiday hours. Town Hall will close on December 24th, a week from today at noontime, and reopen on Friday, December 27th from 9 a.m. to noon. Those are Friday hours. On New Year's Eve, December 31st, Town Hall will close at 12 noon and reopen the day after New Year's on January 2nd, 2025. That's all I have for updates, Mr. Chairman.
Great update, nice and concise.
Sure.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Jim, for your update.
Sure.
As far as the opioid task force, how much of a problem do we see in Sutton as far as like number of calls and things like? Do you have any ideas off the top of your head? Like,
not that much, but there are still out there.
Mm-hmm.
There are, the days of having calls, repeated calls. I had meetings with Chief Toll when he was here, discussing having to administer Narcan to a couple of situations. I haven't heard many situations recently, but I would like to broaden the effort. We're getting a significant amount of revenue in, and participate in this group effort, regional, where, the state loves regional efforts, and we will continue to get revenue. I think some of these are 6-7 year deals where we get an annual appropriation out of these settlements that have been entered into between the courts and the Attorney General and so forth. So, we're not distributing Narcan on a daily basis here in Sutton, but it is a regional effort, and there is a regional problem, and would like to participate in that process.
So you see some of that $90,000 maybe being utilized in some of the other communities, like is pooling it together as the other
pooling it together to really receive matching grants from the state, so it's really doubling the money. But, I don't know that we will be able to expend it all here in Sutton. We're a 9,000 member community, and we're a bedroom community. We don't have a lot of the issues that the surrounding communities do have. We will get to use what we use, but I would like to see some more regional efforts. I'd like to see some more educational opportunities. But I do think this is a good idea to participate in.
Yeah, it sounds like the right thing to do. I mean, these are obviously resources that were, I think we got them through lawsuit, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, it's been such a crisis in this country, and I think to be able to utilize the resources, and I think, I have no problem with, regional efforts if they're led by the towns and not forced on by the state. So I think, this is an effort that the towns are kind of initiating themselves, and I think this makes sense for us to be able to contribute and to get the resources, it's unfortunate what's happened with opioids over the last decade or so. It's just been
even beyond that. I mean, this goes back, 20 some odd years, even into the 90s, where it was a real major issue. But the Sackler family went bankrupt, and this class action suit that we participated in had great rewards for communities that participated in that. So.
Yeah, so it's good to see that, at least for now in our community, that we've turned the corner, but hopefully we can help, where there are still some challenges.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense for us to do that. So thank you for that update.
Sure.
And I'm excited about this housing production plan. I know that it was a little frustrating, especially for the planning board at town meeting, but to me, it was tabled, even though it didn't really have, the planning board had already voted, so that, we could still bring it up in the spring, but I think it was more a symbolic thing for me that the town wasn't completely rejecting it. It was just more of, how do we move forward with something? And I think putting together, we have to put together this housing production plan because it's part of what we're required to do. But I'm really excited about some of the people that I see joining, this committee, and I think this will, hopefully we'll have some good results, because we do have some real challenges that we have to deal with around, housing and trying to figure out how, what's going to work best for Sutton, and how we can kind of maybe think outside the box and not just be forced through 40B or something like that, but make something work for us. So I'm hoping that with some of the people I see that are getting on that board, we'll be able to solve that and be able to go back to the planning board with some solid efforts. And Jen has done such a great job trying to manage this, and so I'm sure she could utilize the help to put this forward. So so I'm excited that this is happening. I think it's really perfect timing, especially when we've got 40B constantly dealing with that, and we've got a project that's kind of moved to the next step, and then you've got MBTA communities, which we'll have to vote on by the end of next year, or next year, 25. So we're going to have to kind of figure out how the town's going to move forward with these kind of things. So it's good. So thank you. I'm all set. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim, thank you for that update. Short and sweet. Sure. I fully support the what we're doing with the opioid settlement. We don't have, fortunately, what appears to be an ongoing regular issue around town, but we have had really tragic incidents that have affected town residents directly. Some young kids that I knew, and it's just it doesn't really matter to me that it's not a ongoing issue. It's more of the issue that we need to, having one person be affected by this. If we can, make a difference in someone's lives like that and prevent something from happening, I think that's a good thing. Will there be? I know in the documentation you gave us, there was something in there about reports about what's being done with the money. Is there any kind of report that we will get periodically from this?
Yeah, and there is a group a committee that will be put together, and they will be having meetings regularly, and there will be minutes taken, but they will also produce reports as well.
Good. Okay.
This effort doesn't take all of our resources. They're asking for $19,000. We've got $90-some-odd in the account. So, and that's going to be built up over the years, and it's a piece of the money to go towards a regional effort. But we still have plenty of resources available here locally if there are issues here locally that we can address.
Great. And the housing production plan update. We need to do something in town, and so I'm glad that there seems to be a little bit more of a sense of urgency to address this issue. We just don't have a lot of. We just need the plan. We need to know, and I know I feel it as you get to a certain age, and the kids have now moved out. And where do you go from here? So.
That's really one of our biggest issues is, the seniors in town. Where do they go?
Yeah.
Because they are house rich but cash poor, and they can't downsize in Sutton. There's no place to go other than some other community.
Exactly. So that'll, I'm hoping that we get some success out of that in addressing the problem. So great. And I think I'm all set. Thanks, Jim.
Very good, thank you. Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim, thank you.
Sure.
Thorough, very thorough. It bothers me when I was reviewing this last Thursday when Debbie sent the agenda. I just look at that as a very quote-unquote dark problem we have in society. It's a stain. And I hear the stories is where my friends years back when they would tell me the worst calls I would get as a police officer is they would have to use their Narcan. And I personally, unfortunately, someone passed away of a drug overdose in a parking lot. Just happened to be there, right? And the police officers were there. You can tell they were frustrated. Because another call when it's just a dark problem. So at least I know we don't want the state to take too much control in some areas, but this is where we have to be collaborative and help address the issue. Because as my peer said, Jeff, is one problem, there's many problems, right? It's just an awful. And I have a brother that he was a drug counselor for many, many years. He studied like 3-4 degrees regarding this, and he says it's a dark stain in society. So it bothered me to read that, but I want to thank as well as Chief Bolsito, Chief Perry, and yourself of being that part of the collaborative. So I'm hopeful that we get more stringent of what's causing the problem, what's causing the flow of these drugs, where they're coming from, over the border, right? I'm hopeful we just put a stop to it soon because it really damages a family.
Yeah.
It is, you could have, and it picks no color. It could be rich, medium, poor. It's devastating. Two is regarding the housing production plan. I'll be honest with you, as John was saying, this is, with the planning board that night, and this is nothing against Jen Hager. I'll be honest with you, she has a very good job she has done a very good job of planning development for the town of Sutton. And just think, doing your job, 30% of it is you're trying to appease by the state requirements. Just think of your daily job, and you got 30% of it is you have to do a regulatory compliant. That is lost productivity cycles. Right? Imagine she had the full realm of spending 100% of the time what's best for Sutton, right? And she has a very delicate balance. What we're seeing, and I've been monitoring the MBTA of the communities as of last night, I think Halifax was the latest vote, is we're now 21 communities saying no. What you're seeing there is strength in numbers. What you're seeing there is people being more aware, and it's local action, right? This is waking up a lot of people. And they're not NIMBY, whatever. They just want to do what's best for their town. End of day. They're not anti, affordable housing, anti-senior citizens housing. They're not. There's a large requirement. Some towns can absorb it. Some towns can't. They have infrastructure issues. So it's good that we're going to have this planning committee. I believe who's going to head it is Wes Stanhope.
I don't know that the planning board's made that decision.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
He will be on that committee.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but if it would, yeah. So thank you. I stand corrected. But
Sure.
the pool of candidates, I should say, is very, very on top of their game. It's what they do for a living. So we're very fortunate here in town that the candidates are on top of the game, right? So they're on top of the legal issues, development issues, infrastructure. So we're going to have very good planning outcomes that we can provide as recommendations. Also, I know there's a Central Mass Regional Planning Committee. Yes, there is, but we have to make sure that it's what's good for Sutton. I think the committee could use that as a tool, but not as a directive, right, for Sutton. We have to think what's best for Sutton. So I did mention my intent. We'll discuss later from Select Board, but I'm glad this is being done. This is going to aid Jen. She has a lot on her plate. Again, I'll be honest with you, I don't want a job. I could not have a job, whereas 30% of the time, or maybe more, is you're trying to abide by state regulations, right? You're not putting 100% time in your local town. So, and that's it. I just want to say thank you for the update. Mr. Chairman, that is all. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jim, thanks for the update. When I opened it up and read about the regional effort around the opioid issue, that was my first thought, was this is a very good thing. I think, we, as recipients of money, have reporting requirements back to the state, so it sounds like this will help us with the reporting requirements. And, as you said, we don't necessarily have expertise in all of these things, so to be able to put more people together from the region to try to develop programs to use the money wisely and try to address the problems that are there, it seems like a really excellent way to really have an impact. As Jeff mentioned, this is really a big issue. I mean, the description that you had around maybe, I don't know if this is fewer calls than we used to have in the past, but I know with conversations with Chief Toll in the past, he would tell us, if you think this is Sutton and we don't have these problems, you're just wrong. These are real problems that are here. And Jeff mentioned it, and I know personally been affected by this issue right here in town. So it is real, and it's here. And so to have an opportunity to work on it is a good thing. I, as Jeff said, I fully support joining the regional group. So I'm glad we're doing that. The housing production plan, I think, I think it's fortuitous that the timing around the expiration of the existing one is now. I do think, as you heard here, there's been a lot of interest in this topic for a number of reasons around town. And so to now need to update the plan is kind of perfect. A lot of people that are very interested in this that will volunteer. And there's a lot of town meeting spoke to the issues, themselves, and the existing plan was put together with a group similar to this one. So I think to putting it back together to work on getting it updated is a good thing. So what I like about the concept of a committee is that there are various stakeholders and various points of view, and I anticipate that the committee itself will be a good cross-section of points of view and perspectives, and then with that, we'll get something that sort of speaks to the various needs that are there. So I think it's been well said around this table tonight that the issues come from a lot of different places and a lot of different concerns, but they are issues. There are things you can't really avoid. Having a proactive plan that helps to address those things, I think is, as I said, it's kind of fortuitous timing. In the meantime, we're being asked to appoint a member of our board to that committee. And Norman, I think, expressed well. He's taken an interest in this topic for a while now, and he was kind enough to put together an actual formal expression of interest in doing this, so I appreciate that. Thank you. So I think it's up to us to decide whether we're ready to do that. I took a little informal poll before the meeting. I didn't think anybody else really had an interest in doing it anyway, so.
Yeah, I just want to comment, Chair, if I
Please,
may.
yeah.
And this goes back to May 23, when I met with a lot of people in running, is would ask most of my platform, and it's still consistent to this day. It's very simple. It's two things. One is I want to see people engaged in a town meeting, engaged in a town. Because it's their town, it's their meeting, right? If you're concerned, attend. Otherwise, don't complain. It's their town, their meeting. And when we become too concerned that too many people come up and speak, then we become the political leaders, right? And we should not think like that. It's their town. That's one. Two is it's inevitable that we're going to grow. We're going to grow. But we have to do it smart, right? We're going to do it smart what's best for Sutton, right? And this is a really good vehicle, right, to deliver what I promised the town of Sutton and the residents is what's going to be best for Sutton for the growth of the town. So this is a great opportunity where share my talent. I am an enthusiastic part-time builder. I love from inception of acquiring land, doing the permit process, building, inspection. I have that experience. It's in a lull right now, but my plan is 5 years from now when I retire, I'll be doing that part-time because I'll introduce my children in that business, right? So am I my full-time developer? No, I'm not, but enough whereas I understand the jargon, the planning, the surveillance, topology, surveillance maps and and the laws. So I think I'll be happy to volunteer. I'd be honored to be a volunteer to best service the town of Sutton.
Great. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. You're welcome.
So I'll just open it up to us. Are we ready to make that appointment?
Yeah, do we have to make a motion? Or?
I think we will. Are you good? Comments, questions?
It's fine. No, I mean, I think, I'm hoping that this group this committee, will represent all of Sutton and not just certain segments of town that, maybe you see at town meeting, a vocal group at town meeting. But you really, there's 9,000 plus people here that we need to, consider the views of everyone. And I think that's important, to consider the, the history of Sutton and the traditions in town, and the character of the town, but also understand the needs of different constituents throughout the town.
And it's a good segue because, as Jim earlier, and I spoke to Jim early on many times, I said on record, it would be great to see a transitional path for some residents that are house rich, cash poor, they want to remain in Sutton, be with their families. It's an example of how we have to think for Sutton, right? And provide a set of housing with that. And I mentioned the Jen as well, right? So a number of times. So
yeah, it's important. That's my concern with this group. Not concern. It's my hope for this committee that they do take into account, points of view of all the residents, in all the different areas of town, whether it's Manchog and West Sutton or whatever.
Yeah.
It's important that all views are taken
and
into
as well as a need
consideration.
for affordable housing, right?
It's a big need for it, and that's why I'm very hopeful that something positive will come out of it. So you certainly have my support.
Thank you.
And I would, again, just that's my hope with the committee.
You have anything you want to add?
Yeah. No, I agree with what Jeff's saying in that, I know Jen, this is the kind of the planning board's obviously, this is a subcommittee or a committee of the planning board. I know part of Jen's mission is to make sure that that board is from a cross-section of people from different parts of town and different bits of experience and all that. And then she also wanted certain boards, select board, was it finance committee? Yeah, to have people on there too. So like you, I have great hope that they come back to us with some creative ideas so that maybe we can take more control versus kind of being subject to 40B in a way, which is we're just reacting versus, so I'm just curious and I'm hopeful that they can come back with something that takes into account kind of the spirit of what people want from this town, which is people move here because they want a smaller kind of rural-like community that comes from a farming past that, but also recognizing that we have some real challenges and that how do we look at this creatively that works for Sutton and puts us in the driver's seat versus having to react to developers coming in and just putting, projects up that really don't help the cause, versus, I do think there's some possibilities. So I'm really excited about the prospect of this board. I think in the past, people Jen's been kind of telling us for a long time we need to deal with this, and I think we're finally at the point where people recognize where we have to deal with it, and I think that's why we're seeing such enthusiasm for it. So, because I think we're seeing the real impacts of, 40B and MBTA community. So that's all I have to say. So I definitely support Norman's.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the only thing I'd add, I think you guys said it well. I'm confident that the planning board will, find members that will represent a good cross section of the community, and I'm hopeful that as you said, a certain group of people that are active at town meeting. I believe they have the best interest of town at heart, and will understand the concerns of that diverse cross section of town as we're working toward meeting all the requirements that you just sort of talked about there. So. And I would just add, I think we're about to vote you into this committee, and we appreciate the effort. And just a reminder that an update here and there would be useful, and represent us well. So.
Will do.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'm right with this. I think in the end, the select board votes on the proposal to send it to the state. So I do think it'll come back to you, the final plan. I remember 5 years ago that you folks had to vote on the housing production plan. And that's where we started to understand the safe harbor and everything else. But so it will come back, but those updates would be helpful too.
Definitely, thank you. Sure.
Do you have any idea what the timeline looks like on this?
I think it's probably at least a 6-month project, just to go in, review all the information from CMRPC, but then, have working group meetings, and it'll take a little while to put this together. And, the committee's got to gel, it's, you got different constituents from all around town and different interests and everything else. And
some people are coming to the table with more knowledge than others, so I'm sure there's going to be a little
and some people are coming in, this is my plan, I think this is the way to do it, and you gotta develop a consensus as a committee, and that's the challenge.
Okay, great. You want to make a motion, please?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Norman to the Housing Production Plan Committee.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Take a vote.
Jonathan Anderson, aye.
Jeff Bannon, aye.
I'm shopping aye.
David Hall, aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
My pleasure. It'd be an honor. Thank you.
And lastly, I just want to revisit quickly the town hall schedule that you mentioned, Jim.
Sure.
The only weird thing in here to me is you got a couple of days off before Friday, and then you got to come back for a half a day on Friday, which, I don't know, maybe that's an operation of a holiday schedule, days off, blah, 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 but it seems like having people get some time off and then have to come back just for a half a day. I don't know. Could we?
I wanted to give the day off after Christmas off, just to kind of take a break. But it is midweek, so it is,
Yeah, midweek holidays
Didn't
are a
wanna-
pain. I don't know, is there any opportunity, it just seems to me that for some folks, maybe that would be a chance to actually make it like a kind of real long weekend kind of thing and be nice.
Well, I'd have to leave that to the board, because to me, I'm biased.
Well, Jesse's not here, so maybe we got a chance. I'm picking on him. Well, it's up to you guys. I don't know. Is there any particular negative reason that we would not want to offer that?
So it's, I'm sorry, if I may.
Yeah, please.
I think we're talking about 3 hours on that Friday,
Right.
right, the 27th from 9 to 12. The only thing that I can foresee with not opening at that point would be if there's any, and I don't know if you would anticipate any, that someone had to come in for some reason during those 3 hours, they had, is that?
I doubt it.
I
But,
do as well.
I can't
I
predict.
do as well.
And I can't predict who's going to show up on Friday, who won't take personal days and just have a long
Yeah.
Christmas break. But somebody could come in and I don't know who's going to be here Friday,
Yep.
that Friday.
Right.
But
And we're talking 3 hours, right?
yeah.
And I guess the way I look at it is you're talking about the potential for somebody to even like go away for the weekend, except for maybe they're going to come back to work for that 3 hours. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly generous, but it just seems like an opportunity to do a good thing. Thoughts? I'm sorry, I'm putting you guys on the spot.
No, that's fine. John will go first. What's that?
Go ahead.
I'm open either way. My only concern is if somebody that comes on the 27th timeframe where it'll be something, submitting a permit, paying taxes. But again, as Jim alluded to, that also people will take time, personal day off. So I'm fine either way.
I mean, it is a slower period of time. Things slow down in business and the only thing I could think of would be permits, but most of that's done online now, correct? So
Yeah, the reality is post-COVID, we don't have a lot of traffic in town hall. Most people pay their bills remotely, taxes including. We do have a few folks that come in and want to pay their taxes in person, but town hall is kind of quiet during the day. The building department gets some activity because there is online permitting and a lot of people do that. Some people just want to come in and sit down and have a discussion. But, it's really the board's decision, not mine.
If we were to decide to close for the day, I suspect there'd be some communications that we'd be able to,
Yeah, we'd clearly let the town know
Yeah.
our intent. And people that will come in later this week or early next week to deal with their issues that they might have on Friday. Or the following Monday, they can come in and address that issue.
if it were up to you, do you have a preference? I mean,
Well, yeah.
It's the only thing
Personally, I'd like to give the employees that Friday off because, I have, I'm biased. Like I said, these are the employees that do the work for us, for the board and for me, and I appreciate them and what they do, and I think it's an opportunity to say thank you in a small way to. And, enjoy the long break. We'll be back the following week.
so if somebody were to come here and find that the building was open and, closed when they thought it was going to be open, and I presume we would hear about it the next week and we'll know if we inconvenience people.
Yeah,
in a way we didn't.
and not that we won't get the word out, have something on the front door
Yep.
and as well posted on the town website and throughout town, and maybe a little help from the local newspaper. We'll get the word out. We'll let them know.
And this only comes up when these holidays fall on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's, it's just, it's just that.
Yeah.
That's really the challenge, but.
Well, I think it's up to us.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine.
I'm good as long as we can get the word out beforehand, which I'm
communication.
sure we can.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Thank you. And
we have a
I
crack
thank you on
communication
behalf
staff
of the-
right here.
The staff, too. They will appreciate that.
All right? Do you need anything from us, a vote?
No,
or
that's good enough for
just
me.
got it?
I can kind of count.
All right.
If anyone does want to come in for those 3 hours.
All right, I'll
still
give
get the
that
opportunity for that, right?
Double time? I'm hearing Jim wants to come in.
All right.
Well, yeah, unless it snows, I mean, we got to thank the highway department if it snows around that time. And
well,
thank them. I just want to thank them in advance.
Only ones that don't
I just
get
want to
it.
thank them in advance. Sometime, it
Christmas
snows.
Day, you never know.
Thank them, and Matt and his team, I want to thank them in advance, on record.
All right. With that, then, I think we're on to announcements, roundtable, correspondence, and everything else. Jonathan.
All right, thank you. So I attended the Mass DOT Route 146 Vision Study meeting that they had last week on the 11th. And it was very interesting. I think this is something they do periodically just to kind of do a study on the state of primarily Boston Road 146 intersection. And one of the things I learned is that we're a top 200 crash location. So not surprising, but I didn't realize we were that high up in the...
Right at the center lights there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Right now, during peak time in the morning, northbound, it backs up on a pretty regular basis, and so they're kind of considering that as kind of like an F or a failure. But right now, all the other directions coming in at this time get through fairly quickly, but that's really the only area right now. But they did say that with the current existing projects that are in play or warehouses that aren't quite occupied yet, once we hit 50% of those completed, and then we'll start to have bigger issues, and then when we get to 75%, we'll have a complete failure, like with F of that, with backups again, and we'll kind of be back where we were several years ago before they made the changes. So that's something that they're looking at. This is a long-term type process. They are looking for some short-term things. Some of the things that were mentioned was like signage coming northbound to get off Pleasant Valley Road. It's a very small sign. People not from the area may not understand that that's the only way to go on Boston Road westbound. So just little things like that. But, but they do see that we are kind of heading in a direction where, as these projects get built out throughout the valley, that will, and then you've obviously got what's going on down in Rhode Island too, with getting rid of that light there. I still think we're a ways away from losing our light. Probably many years, but at least this is part of the process, and this is the first kind of listening session that they had. There'll be more, and they'll be advertising that as we go forward, as they continue the study. But it was definitely an interesting conversation, and they're really looking for feedback from the community. So a lot of people provided like concerns they have in the intersection, and yeah, just how dangerous it is was one of the biggest concerns. So.
Was there any discussion about opening the left-hand turn or returning to allowing a left-hand turn as you go northbound?
No, I don't think, that's why they were kind of suggesting that we kind of increase the signage. I did say that, one of the things I brought up is when you get to that Pleasant Valley Road and you want to take a left onto Boston Road to head towards the light, it's generally not too bad because if you time it in between the light cycles, but during peak times it can be challenging, and as Unify, becomes more busy down, they continue the build out, it could become more, and there's no light there right now. So that was something that, as we start moving towards that intersection in particular, because it's kind of in between the two lights, could become more challenging. And I know when I used to work in Rhode Island, I'd come up and I'd take that intersection every day. It got challenging at times because you have to look at so many lanes, because at that point there's a lot of lanes, And you also have someone coming across from you, potentially taking a left hand.
Increase the accident data.
Yep, exactly.
It's a dangerous intersection.
But to be honest with you, I personally chose that over Central Turnpike because I found that sometimes, because when I come northbound, I found taking a left there was even harder because people are coming faster at you.
Yeah.
So I would actually go up to the other. So if they kind of did something at the Central Turnpike, that might make more people take that exit versus come up Boston Road, because I think it's, So anyway, those are just some discussion that happened. It was pretty productive, and, I'll continue to try to attend them whenever they have them. But unfortunately, I think we're a long ways away from a flyover bridge. But I think we need to keep the pressure on so that is seriously looked at, because I think as the traffic continues to grow with the different projects, so especially the trucks. And then just a couple of things. I was very happy to be able, over the last couple of weeks, to attend Chain of Lights, and then last weekend the Man-Chog Stroll. Just two events, just two of many events that happen in this town that really are reasons why I love living in this town. Just tons of people, especially at Chain of Lights. And I think one of my favorite events is Man-Chog Stroll. It's really fun, and it's continuing to grow. And you've got kind of, just real enthusiasm. And if you went this Saturday, you would have heard French being spoken by Mr. Norman here.
French history.
Yep, and just really kind of bringing in the heritage of the French Canadian community that was there, continues to be there, and it's just a really special place, and there's a lot of incredible architecture in Man-Chog, and I think this is just a highlight of why it's such a great community. So I really enjoy that event and continue to look forward to it in the future. So.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Jeff?
Thank you. Just a couple of things. One is, Jesse's not here tonight to remind us about continuing to keep the Mike Chizzy Food Pantry in mind. I don't know if anyone's got a list or anything, but this is, this time of year, it's more critical than ever. So we should do that. And I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday season in the room and that's watching as well.
Very good. Thank you. Norman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say likewise, I attended the Man-Chog Stroll this past weekend. It was cold, but it was very eventful. It's nice to see the vision coming to fruition of the Vaillancourt family and the facility, as well as District 5 with Jamie. It was just a really a welcome event. And also the Sutton Historical Society. I was there in the booth, and Christine Watkins provided a precursor of the history, and it is amazing. It was like, hence speaking my French, my first language, in the history of Man-Chog is that at one point in time was over 50%, in the town of Sutton, over 50% of residents were French Canadian. And with that, they brought their work ethics and alike and their culture, and it's nice to see that there was an opportunity to explain that for those taking on the stroll and to see that. So, but to carry on with that is, it's good to see they have that vision. I mean, if you see Paul today at Waters Farm, like 45 years ago when that was incorporated, you can just imagine with that continued vision they have in Man-Chog, where that could go, right? In the little Christmas village, in a sense, a hallmark town. So I want to thank them for really spending their time and dedication, and key is their vision of that. Just a comment. I just happened to sit next to Michelle today at the Christmas and holiday luncheon. Again, I want to thank you to the town hall for that. It was really good. I had a very sharp 1:00 meeting, so I had to leave at 12:45 to make it in time. Otherwise, I would like to stay and socialize. However, I just happened to sit with Michelle, and she just happened to tell me that the Sutton Food Pantry, the senior citizens need shoes, right? So just an idea, if you go Christmas shopping, if you want to go to a shoe store for gift card for shoes, I think it's a great idea, right? So especially cold weather coming with boots. But I just want to say, as well as As we close 2024, I want to thank everybody and their families, the opportunity for me to serve them as their selectman here in town. Have a great Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holiday to that. As we close, we had a lot of good, very good activities in town that makes Sutton who we are. Right? So next year, looking at 2025, it's going to be a big year. We're seeing that we're going to have the election of a new town manager, a new town manager, a police chief. We're going to see the housing committee putting plan together, so there's a lot to look forward to. So again, I want to thank you for the town, and have a great Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in 2025 to them and their families. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. Just quickly, I'm glad you mentioned Chain of Lights. The last few years, I've been volunteering to ride the buses around, and I got, we didn't have, well, it was a school bus this year, but I did get assigned the Manchog route, which I was excited for, because that's where all the good stuff goes on, I think, so. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Becoming the most active, absolutely.
Well, so I think that's what it is. A lot of things happening down there, and what it turns out that the drivers don't know the routes down there, so it gives me something to do on the buses. So when you go around early in the morning and there aren't too many participants out, you get out and sort of being able to see what's going on at the various stops. So I did get down to District 5 and Valancourts, and although I didn't really get beyond kind of the street level, just the setup they had down there was really amazing. So, it's hard to tell when you're on the buses how busy it is, but it looked like it was pretty well attended. And, that's another event like Waters Farm Days where, in my opinion, it seems like over the last number of years, the event itself has grown and is really flourishing now. So congratulations, I think, to the Gerards and all the volunteers that have helped all over town to make it a great event. So other than that, I just want to say keep your eyes out for Santa, because he'll be touring around town soon, and happy holidays to everybody.
It was last night, Sunday, Santa came around.
Okay.
Well, there's a list of when Santa's going to be visiting your
we'll look it up.
your neighborhood, and
Well, he visited mine on Sunday. Yeah.
Well, we'll see you next year, I guess. So, great holidays to everybody.
Thank you.
And with that, I think I will accept the motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Jonathan Anderson, aye.
Jeff Bannon, aye.
Norman Shopping, aye.
David Hall, aye. Thank you very much. Thank you for staying.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for staying.
But if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.